Welcome to Master of the Game. I am Juice, and I'm here with Paula, and today's really exciting because we just got the D&D Essentials Kit. Right now, it is only in Target, but as of September 3rd, it will be out in all gaming stores. So, let's get started. Alright, so today we're going to unbox this and just go over the contents. And then in a future video, after I've read through it and possibly ran a session or two for my daughter, who is 8, I will probably do a more formal review. This is going to be really interesting, though, because Paula has not read anything about this, really.
I know nothing, essentially, right? I mean, I've seen, like, the picture on the back and, like, you know, of course, I keep hearing... like, oh, I need this because I have to have it. No reason. But, so I've heard different things.
No reason? That's every reason we need to know is that I have to have it. That's it. That's
so I've heard different things. So maybe you'll get a more, like, a raw reaction from me.
Yes.
Than what you would get from him. And I'm also usually not very subtle about my opinions.
True.
Anyway.
So before we open this, though, the starter box, have you looked at the starter box at all? Be honest.
Nope.
So my starter set, I actually got autographed by some people, including Ed Greenwood. But, yeah, that was about it. Character sheets, a starter, rules, adventure path, and dice. That is it. Boom, boom, boom. So, yeah, it really was that light. And... does it have the price on here? Price was $20. So this one gets a lot more.
Which we're going to find out more about. How much was this one? $25.
$5 more.
Okay.
Trusty knife.
Knife me.
I want it. Oh. I'm going to open it and hand you things. And you're going to say your first thoughts.
I don't get to just... I don't have get that feeling of opening the box myself.
I'm the one that had to have it. Here, I'll let you do it. But let me get the plastic off at least.
Okay.
Oh, new smell. I love new smell. Okay.
You're so weird.
Actually, that's really nice and shiny.
It is.
I like it. I think that art is beautiful. Lily today, our daughter, saw the little green thing shooting out of the dude's hands and thought it was sweet.
Can you see that well?
Oh, I can show a picture in there. Yeah.
Okay, so we get a set of dice.
You want to show the camera? Ooh.
We get red dice in this made in China package.
But whatever. How many? I'm sure that's temporary.
Hey, first of all,
how many dice are there?
There's quite a. So can I open this?
Sure.
Are you gonna be like?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So, first things first, you got your percentiles. I feel a little bit better about that.
Wait, you get percentiles?
Right.
There's your percentile. There's one of them.
So, now, nice thing, you get 2 D20s.
For advantage and disadvantage.
Right, which
Brilliant.
is super cool. And then you get 4 D6.
So you can make a character.
Could be like character creation.
Whoa.
Also helpful if you were playing like a thief or something like that too.
Or sneak attack.
Yeah, just have an extra like D6 or something like that.
Or some spells. Guiding bolt or whatever from the cleric is 4D6 or 3D6.
Okay, so cool. And like I will admit I'm not a huge fan of like red. Mm-hmm. But I mean, typical D&D, like that's pretty classic, and
it's translucent.
Right? They went with the translucent instead of like a lot of other times, like the classic is the solid.
Solid. Yeah.
You know, like the solid colors. So that's not bad though. Okay, so then the next thing is an adventure, Dragon of Icefire Peak.
Ooh.
Okay. That looks kind of cool.
Looks
Same artwork as the It is 64 pages. This actually looks really nice when you look through it.
Mm-hmm.
It's that same like style as like what the players like handbook is and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Except
Everything's glossy.
Pages are a little bit thinner. Like,
you think they're thinner?
Thicker than a magazine, not as thick as a book page.
You think?
Yeah, but then they're also super shiny. So today we legitimately were just playing like Tomb of Annihilation.
Sure.
And so I'm running the game, and so one of my like things is about having maps of everything. Like everything, even if it doesn't necessarily need a map, I just like always want a map. This has a lot of maps for every location. Like every location has a really like detailed map. And I also appreciate the fact that the color scale on it, there's a lot of contrast in the color scale so you can see better.
Mm-hmm. So there's this Essentials box, which is cool. Obviously, if you've read anything, you know this is for the cards that come in here, which we'll get into here in a second. But I just wanted to get this folded up so when she goes through them and hands them to me, I'm ready to start putting them in here. But that's pretty neat. It looks like it will definitely hold all of them. I'm going to be curious to see if there's any loose room for other ones. So I've made my own like equipment cards and condition cards over the years. So I wonder if those or some of them might fit in here as well.
Fit in there too.
Yes.
This is cool.
What is it?
It's a ghoul.
Oh, it's a different version of the ghoul? It's the same stat block.
Yeah, no, I know. It's
here,
just
show the camera. Show the camera.
It's a different picture. I feel like that one is really cool. Next thing we have are initiative cards,
which are really helpful. We use tents, which I think we'll probably still use. But this is kind of neat. This I could see being very useful in like a quick pickup game or things like that for us.
I actually wouldn't mind like giving this a try. This is easier because this is more like when we were playing that what was that game that we were playing?
70
that
system?
Board game. No, the board game.
Oh, Sinister Six?
Yeah, and everybody had like, oh, okay, here is like, I go first, second, third, fourth, fifth.
Yes, but that board game, you don't have miniatures. You don't have a map.
No, I know, but that was really like easy. So I would give it a shot. That's all I'm saying. I would like to try it. Oh, so these are condition cards. This is kind of cool. So it's basically like, hey, you can give this card to a character if they are poisoned or unconscious. And when you look on the back, it gives you a nice description of like, you know, what it is. So like poison says a poison creature has disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. Mm-hmm. That's really helpful if you have new characters or you're not sure.
You mean new players?
Yeah, sorry, new players.
Sure.
Yeah. And maybe they're not sure how something works. Like, what are the rules if I'm stunned? Or what are the rules if I'm prone? Like, what can I do? So that's really nice because then you can just say, oh, you're prone, and you can give them this card. They can read about it while everybody else is going, and then when it comes back around to at the bottom, these three, like, combat cards down here, it basically just gives you, like, a step-by-step combat guide on the back.
It's like a crib sheet that I used to give you guys.
Like, what can you do? Here's a couple things that, like, happens. Everybody takes turns. You begin the next round at this point. You know, like, it just gives you a layout of, like, what to kind of expect. So that's cool.
Okay.
And then here are just some more conditions, like invisible, grappled, blinded, that sort of thing.
We're going to use this a lot. Then I don't have to interrupt anyone about the rules.
The rules on the back, again, super cool. I like the pictures on here are cool. Like,
those are what was on the DM screen and in the player's handbook. Those are in there on the conditions page.
Yeah, that's true. They are, aren't they?
Oh, the next. So I didn't realize this next one was in color. This is cool.
So these look to be pictures of people.
The Sidekick cards.
Yes. Like, so it gives you a little bit of info on the back. It has like a description. So like this one, Donabella Fiasco, is a human spellcaster. She's a young magic user who wears a paper mache unicorn mask because it makes her feel more magical. Use the spellcaster's sidekick stat block in the rulebook to represent her. And then it says personality. I'd rather talk to a book than most people. Ideal. We all have a little magic in us. The trick is finding it and bringing it forth. Bond. I want to join a prestigious Wizards Academy one day. I just hope they accept unicorns. And flaw. I can't keep a secret to save my life or anyone else's. That's cool. That's super handy. I like how they do those little like...
These might get use in regular games.
Yes.
Just because they're fun.
That's
like
cool.
That.
So then there are, it looks like there are three. Oh, jeez. Five
sheets of magic items.
Cards. These are super great. So we just had, in a game, like, we do have a deck of, like, magic items.
The Gale Force 9.
And stuff like that. So we actually I pulled one out for another game and gave it to a player. And so now the player holding or carrying that item is, like, holding on to it. Which is really handy because you do not ever have to repeat what that item does. So this is super cool. So there's, like, Boots of Elvenkind, +1 shield. But then there's like Cloak of Many Fashions.
I bet you it's Dragon Slayer.
Yeah, Goggles of Night. So some of these are like pretty. I feel like used a lot. Like Immovable Rod potion. There's a bunch of potion of healings, right, and greater healing. But then there's also like the Sending Stone and a Staff of Bird Calls and. You know, stuff that you're not always going to run into. So it looks like there's a decent variety on there, you know, mixed in with lots of +1 weapons.
Lots of +1 boring weapons. There's no flavor to that. Like, you found yourself a +1 short sword. No, come on. Call it something else, people. Come on. Just make up a name and then just give it a +1 property.
Yeah.
That would have made it so much more interesting.
+1 lightning damage.
+1 short sword.
+1 like fire. Or like a light's on fire and, you know, does +1 damage during the day or whatever.
I do want to point out. So for example, Potion of Water Breathing. Its cloudy green fluid smells of the sea and has a jellyfish-like bubble floating in it. I appreciate that. Especially as a DM who can't always think of a description of what it looks like on my feet. Having it on there is awesome. Yeah. So that I do like.
So I used to
But the +1 things don't say anything flavorful.
Campaigns that I ran like a long time ago, I would decide, hey, here's what a potion of healing smelled like and tasted like, and I would just keep it going all the time.
Sure.
This is something different.
I know. Go ahead.
So these are quest cards with
We've tried that
descriptions of quests on them. So it just gives them an idea of like different things that they can do.
For a module, I think this is fine.
So I don't think this is bad
because
there's like quite a few. I mean, it's like quite a few sentences on here that explain what you have to do. Like
having stuff like this for existing modules, like Tomb of Annihilation, would have been great. Like today in our voice chat or our chat afterwards, when I said, "What are all of our hooks?"
Yeah,
and we're like,
So we just played the game today.
Yes.
But it has been like
months.
Yeah,
5 months
and months because it's the summer and we all have kids and we're busy and we're fixing up our house and you know, so it's
everyone's
just
got
like
their own lives.
Life, right? So it's just been a long time and so it's kind of like what do we know about? What have we done?
So having something like this for a campaign like Tomb of Annihilation would be great. So right now we broke it down to like 4 quests in that basically that we've got hooks for. We don't exactly remember what our hooks were. We just remember the names of places for a reason, but we just don't remember the reasons exactly.
Yeah.
So this would be nice because it tells you what your hook is. So that would be nice.
Yeah, so then it looks like we have a map.
Looks like a hex map on one side and a city map on the other.
Yeah. So Fandalin.
Yep.
Fandalin.
Fandalin.
And then it looks like this is Neverwinter Woods, basically. Yeah,
it's the Sword Coast area.
So
that's cool. We could add that to the posters put on the wall.
This is cool. The thing that I'm like running into, my pet peeve with running a module. I don't run a lot of modules. Usually I've always just like made up my own thing.
That's what I prefer.
And so my pet peeve is that I now have this map which has no hexes exposed for the players, and on the other side I have everything exposed and I can't go halfway. Like I almost need, like, even if there were like stickers that came with it that you could like
just cover it with a sheet of paper.
Put the sticker over it once they've been in that hex, so they know like here's where you've been and here's where you haven't been.
You're the arts and crafts person. You can't make them on Post-it notes.
That would be really great if there were like some stickers there. But yeah, but I wanted to complete the picture, not like.
All you're trying to cover up is the names of places, really. There's nothing to see in like a forest hex if it's the next one and right next to it is a forest hex.
Yeah, but you guys have so much stuff that's not labeled. Like the name of it is not labeled.
Sure.
Or it would, it would be so cool. I just had the best idea ever.
Yeah?
Okay, so D&D should make scratch off hexes.
I like the idea.
I like the sticker idea.
I think the sticker one sounds better if they're like color forms. And you have a glossy map. So this isn't the glossy finish like I'm thinking. I'm thinking more like the flip mats where it's a glossy. So if it was like that and then you had like little color forms that you could stick on there and pull off that are just black.
They should make like,
that would be cool.
Like here you provide the Tomb of Annihilation book. Now here is like your module pack. Next thing is an Essentials Kit rule guide. Which is just like a little overview on creating a character, like real basic stuff. About like, fighter, rogue, wizard. They're probably back to like the 4 like.
Yeah, but it's different. It's telling you how to create them right here.
Right.
The other one didn't do that. So this is different. This is thicker than the other one. And it's laid out sort of like the player's handbook. It looks like here. Let me see it. Can I see the table of contents?
Yes, it is.
So yeah, it starts with like character creation. So it's similar to the player's handbook. It does have some rules like how to play up front. But then it's chapter 1's create a character. Chapter 2 playing the game. Chapter 3 is equipment. Then chapter 4 is spells. Appendix A is sidekicks. Appendix B is conditions. But under playing the game, there's a lot of good stuff in here, like the different types of checks you're going to make. Different things in combat, such as making an attack. Ranged attacks, melee attacks, damage and healing. Mounted combat. Underwater combat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's pretty in-depth for a starter set.
I think so far this is cool for a starter set. Okay, so then there's a DM screen, which I actually really like the other side of this.
The art, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the lead up to the White Dragon fight. So it's like the moments before the cover of the box.
Yes.
That's
cool. I feel like it looks pretty cool. So I like it. The inside of it looks pretty, this is pretty legit normal.
It's the same as the reincarnated screen. Not the older screen that you were using today, but it's the same inside as that one, it looks like.
Yeah, but this looks, it's a little bit thicker. This will set up just fine for a DM screen.
It is just cardstock rather than the cardboard, like book cover style DM screen. Yes. So it's still pretty durable and would be fine, I think, but it's not as durable as the others.
And then at the very bottom are some blank character sheets.
Okay.
4 characters. Oh, they're double-sided, which is nice.
Yeah. Just two-sided?
Yeah.
So what if you're a spellcaster? Is there a spell sheet? Or no?
Nope.
Okay. So then the very last thing in this box.
So you don't get to write your spells.
You would
down
write them on
your...
just regular lined paper then.
Yeah, on another piece of paper.
Which is fine because
like
it's nothing to it anyway. It's very little, and you can find the sheets online on Wizards of the Coast website. So again, I don't think that's a big deal.
So there's like 6 sheets here, so like don't make a mistake.
Or just go on the Wizards of the Coast website and print all the ones you want for free.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like, you know.
Yeah, it's not many. But remember, this is made for running one-on-one games. So this is for you to run it with one player. So that's 6 games. You can run it with more.
No, it's not made for you to run with one player. Yes, it is. 2 to 6 players. It is. That's why you get the sidekicks. That was a big selling point for it. Gotcha.
So that's the big thing. Now, the sidekicks are going to come in extremely necessary if you're doing it with one player. Gotcha. So the big thing that I think this is kind of nice for is you get a 50% off digital version of the Player's Handbook on D&D Beyond. And you also get the adventures that are going to come with Dragonspire Peak. Dragonspire Peak. Which the only way to get those is with this coupon code. And it's going to be a level 7 adventure, 9 adventure, and 11. So it's 3 additional adventures. And at those levels, because things are slower to progress, they're probably going to be just as big as this. Maybe a little smaller. Probably some better monsters. Probably some more. I'm assuming you get more magic items. Things like that. So that'll be pretty interesting, I think.
I think this, like, 50% off for the D&D Beyond for the Player's Handbook is cool. That's a cool way to go.
I've said it before in other videos. I use D&D Beyond quite a bit to mess around with characters and stuff. I have a convention game coming up next week at Grand Con, and I made, 12 characters in like 30 to 40 minutes, which is amazing. Like, I couldn't do that with just my book, a pencil, and paper. Like, not in a million years. Not 12 characters at 5th level.
Your character making
I can't
skills.
write that fast. Like, the beautiful thing in Beyond, you just click it, and then it opens it. If there's a selection, and if there's a selection to make, and you can click and make the quick selection there. Otherwise, it's like, click the arrow to go to the next step. Mm-hmm. It's so quick. It's awesome. So, I know a lot of people who have bought the physical books, don't want to buy D&D Beyond for they don't want to buy the books for D&D Beyond also. I completely understand that. However, if you can find a gaming group to go in on it, split the cost, it's well worth it for 6 people to split the cost. Especially if you know you're only going to use the character creation. Like, okay, now we are going to do Player's Handbook, Xanathar's Guide, Volos, and that's really all you would need because now you get all the races, all the classes.
Right, you have access to everything.
Yeah, and it's only a few books, and they're not full price because they're digital versions, and you can do content sharing with your group. Put them all in the same campaign in there. So I think that's cool. So what would you think? How would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10? Be honest. For a starter set, what would you give it?
Okay, for a starter set, I would probably give it a 9. Okay. Like, I feel like it's a pretty solid, starter set. If I was them, I think the big thing that I would adjust or change is potentially looking at, I know that they added some more dice this time, which is cool. Mm-hmm. But if there genuinely are, 2 to 4 people or 2 to 6 people playing, and they're all beginners, you clearly do not have enough dice. I think you could do that with a couple of the other dice, like the D20, there's 2 there. Maybe you could do a couple more. A D8, right? Those are pretty common. So just because that way, if you are going to play, especially in 4-player game, which is usually pretty typical standard to have 4 people, including a DM, that way everybody has a D20, a 6, and an 8. That's sort of that would be my opinion. I would like to see that.
For a starter set. So
I would also like to see a little bit of consideration for the spellcasters. Like, there's no spellcasting sheet, and especially for beginners, spellcasting is really confusing. So maybe if they're not going to do a sheet, maybe you do a couple, like, just some, like, blank cards that they can write them
Spell
on.
cards.
Yeah, maybe they can write their own spell cards or something like that, so you can just add.
Yeah.
It would have been very inexpensive addition to put blank cards in here.
Can I add on
But then
that too?
it would just, like, then they could put in, like, name of the spell.
Right.
Then they could circle, like, what, you know, like, whether it's, like, a visual, you know.
Sure.
Auditory spell or
that doesn't
whatever.
matter.
Just like, yeah, but it's not that it matters a ton. It's that it just brings visibility to that. Like, then they can put in. So you just make it like you know, like.
So you're overlooking the biggest problem our spellcasters have had. We have 3 spellcasters in our Tomb game. One of them knows how to determine their spell save DC and their spell attack bonus or whatever. Mm-hmm. Our other 2 have been muddy on that. So that is the most important aspect of that. And it would be nice if, say, they included spell casting cards, right? If the main sheet said spellcast DC and maybe in parentheses how to determine it, and the same thing for your ranged attack and things like that. Think about board games. You only need 1 set of dice for the whole table. So why in D&D does everybody need dice?
Look.
I'm just saying.
Because the DM needs to be behind the screen going, just to make you worry. That's why.
So pull out the Yahtzee dice that never get used. There's plenty of dice there.
Yeah, but then they know it's bullshit, and then it's not fun.
No, your charts are D6 charts.
Even my nephew today was like, oh, she's rolling something, so that means something. And I'm like, no, it doesn't.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have said that.
It means nothing. It means who knows.
You're talking about $25. You get a DM screen. Now, it's a lesser DM screen than the others. I would assume that based on that, the value is at least $5 there. The dice alone, because of what you get, you're talking about $8 probably worth of dice because a base set's like $6 with no interest to it. You know, and you got a couple extra D6, an extra D20. You get different cards, which I think are, you know, value there. I think the value is definitely higher than the cost of the box, 100%. However, like you said, there are a lot of things we're not going to use. We're not going to use the rules out of here. We might look at like the Sidekick rules, but other than, and even that I might not even look at. You know, I might glance at it. I will be reading it to determine if I think it's good enough for a beginner. Like, you know, and I'm going to run this whole thing for my 8-year-old daughter. She's not going to read this and understand it, but in 2 years she might. And maybe she'll run this for her brother, who at the time will be like 6 or 7. You know, well, who knows? But, so I agree with that. But I do think we're getting some cool stuff, like, you know, the initiative cards that you actually want to try. Mm-hmm. I like the tents, but if you're running the game, we can use whatever you want. The magic cards are kind of nice. Mm-hmm. You know, having multiple, like, potions of healing. That's, I think, really valuable. Like, our game, we just got 3 more.
Yeah,
healing potions. Use those. We should. And then I don't know if the other deck had healing potions. I'm sure it did, but I don't know how many. But yeah, we'll incorporate that. The Sidekick cards, I will probably incorporate even in other games, because why not? They're cool. Let someone role play as like an NPC occasionally too. Mm-hmm. And the adventure. Like, I'm excited to run this adventure. You know, I love all of these adventures, and I'm excited about getting the ones on Beyond, the 3 additional ones. So a big thing for me, because I don't always run modules, I like to read modules and not necessarily read it cover to cover, but like read it and take ideas out of it. Like, oh, I like how they incorporated this trap. I like the description they used here. I like the clues and the way they gave the hooks here. The NPC, like that's what I get a lot out of my modules, mm-hmm. you know, and I incorporate it into things. So I think it's a good value. If you are a brand new person, 100% buy this. I would say buy this before the other starter set if you're just getting into D&D. And then once you've learned how to create a character and stuff, I think doing the adventure and jumping into Lost Mines of Phandelver, you know, and then going into other modules might be a really good way to go. You know, and because it's in the exact same area, you could run both adventures at the same time. You know, like jump back and forth between things in both of them. Oh, yeah. That would be really cool. So I think together it's really good. And you're still under $50 for both of them. And I think you can get the starter set at some stores now. I've seen it as low as $10 at our local Meijer. I've seen it online on Amazon for like $12 lately. So I don't know what it is today, but yeah. And I will post a link to this in the comments below in the description. So if you want to go buy D&D the Essentials Kit, you can get it too. And it'll be the Amazon link, so it'll probably be a little bit cheaper than the $25 retail price. And if you have Amazon Prime, you'll get it within like a day and no shipping, right?
Yeah, cool.
So it's a good value there. So that's my take. And you got a nice little storage box for all the cards.
Yeah.
It's a nice little bonus.
Now I really just want to rip cards apart so I can put them in here.
Maybe later.
Okay.
All right, so this was Master of the Game. I'm Juice. This is Paula. Game on.